Hey, what's going on, everybody? William here from the Movement Shop. I wanted to go live tonight and talk to you about this principle that I've been talking to a lot of my patients with, and it's kind of how we structure fixing or helping heal any soft tissue injury, and it's the concept of RLS. And so by soft tissue injury, it could be anything from low back pain, like we're having low back pain when we're bending over, because our low back muscles can't handle the load of lengthening over a period of distance, right? So if I'm standing up nice and tall, my low back muscles are just kind of holding me constant. But the second that I start hip hinging forward, these low back muscles have to hold that like rigidity in my spine as I bend forward from my hips, and my glutes and my hamstrings can contract. Now, the problem is sometimes those low back muscles can be kind of hypersensitized, and this goes for anything, right? It could be your lat when it comes to reaching overhead for your shoulder. It could be your calf muscle when we're walking or running. It could be our hip flexors when we're trying to go into a hip extended position here. And so the principle of kind of how we fix these problems is RLS, and it kind of goes like this: R is the first step, L is the second step, and S is the third step. Now, number one, the R is roll. Okay, now what that is it could be any soft tissue work. It could be like a soft tissue massage of the low back, Theragun, an adjustment, something passive along those lines of getting those muscles to kind of calm down so that we can desensitize the whole system, and then we can progress into the next stage. Sometimes if our tissues and our muscles are very sensitized, they won't let us lengthen, they won't let us strengthen or anything like that, because they're so sensitized, they want to be held in that one position, and we can't move out of that until we address it. So although this is a short-term benefit, sometimes it's necessary to progress to the next stage, which is the L. And the L is lengthen. Okay, so we're lengthening. Now, lengthening could be like stretching, or and it can be passive or it can be active at this point. So one of the problems with kind of our healthcare system now in terms of injury rehab, so like the PT, chiro, massage therapy worlds, is that we really stop here, right? We do a lot of rolling, a lot of table work, soft tissue work, massage, and that kind of stuff. And then we get into the lengthening. So stretches, right? Like a hamstring stretch, or a calf stretch, or a shoulder stretch. But the problem is, that's only short-term benefits, right? We're desensitizing the area, and then we're lengthening that area, but we're not getting to the root cause of the problem, which is why we're there in the first place, because we're probably lacking some strength from somewhere. And that's where the third one comes in, right, is strength. So now that we kind of desensitized the issue, now got it moving well, now we want to strengthen it in that position that we can now move it well in, right? And I kind of use this analogy of traditional physical therapy and more passive treatments. It's kind of like if you're walking along a frozen lake and you take a step right on some thin ice and you fall into the lake. Well, what traditional healthcare is doing right now is it's getting you out of the water and setting you right on the edge of that where you fell in, where the ice is still thin. So yeah, you're out of the frozen water, but you're still right on the edge of falling back in. And what this part does, right, what number 3 does, is we get number 1 and number 2, which pulls us out of the water. Number 3 drags us back all the way back to shore, so there's no way we're falling back into that hole again, right? There's no way we're falling back into the frozen river again. And so what happens is, as we start building this strength, we build up this tissue resilience, where now if we're having back pain bending over to pick up something that's 10 pounds, well, now over time, we get it to calm down with these two things, so now it feels better to go down to pick up something that's 10, 15 pounds again. But now that it feels better there, that's when we have to dive into the strengthening to build that up to something like 100, 150 pounds, So that if we can pick up 150 pounds from the floor, when we go to pick up something that's 15 pounds, it's not even there anymore, right? And so that's the principle of this RLS and why we follow this pattern for almost any soft tissue injury or any kind of pain or problem that we've been dealing with, whether it's a foot or a calf strain with running, a hip tightness with squatting, low back pain with bending over, shoulder pain with reaching. It doesn't matter. We're going to find that root cause of the problem, then we're going to lengthen the tissues, get them moving better, then we're going to strengthen them. And so this principle is very important to understand, because the more that you know about your rehab program, the better that it works, because the more invested that you are into it. And when you invest in something, that's when everything starts getting a little bit better.